Goring awakens in a concrete cell with the number 48 on the wall at the Vertical Self-Management Center prison. He only has a bed and a sink to use, as well as a hole in the middle of the floor that his cellmate Trimagasi refers to as the pit. There are hundreds of floors like theirs, each with 2 prisoners using fake names assigned by management. Every day, food is lowered on a platform through the hole, and you have 2 minutes to eat as much as you can before it is transported to a lower floor. The lower you are, the less chance you have of eating anything. Goring decides to save an apple for later, but once the platform leaves, the cell becomes extremely hot. It turns out that keeping food is forbidden, so Goring must dispose of the apple or they will burn to death. This reminds Goring of the interview he had before entering the facility, in which he was required to sign a paper accepting the fact that he would be unable to leave until the agreed-upon period was completed. Every prisoner is allowed to bring 1 item with them, and Goring chose to bring a copy of Don Quixote. Goring came here voluntarily, and he will spend 6 months in exchange for an accredited diploma. When the platform arrives the next day, Goring refuses to eat again, and Trimagasi believes floor 48 was a waste of space for him. Goring asks Trimagasi for his story, and Trimagasi explains that it all began with a television advertisement. He purchased an extraordinary knife that he saw on television, but only a few days later, they ran a new advertisement promoting an even better knife. This infuriated him so much that he grabbed the television and threw it out the window, killing a passerby. Trimagasi was given the option of going to a psychiatric hospital or the hole, so he ended up here. The lowest he's been is 132, so he knows there are more floors because he can see them from below. No food reaches the lower levels, and a month down there isn't too bad. The issue arises when you reach 2 lower levels in a row. Goring is terrified of this possibility and attempts to persuade the people on the other floors to ration their food, but he is ignored. Trimagasi responds by pissing into the lower floor, revealing that the item he chose to bring with him is the knife he purchased on television. Goring finally starts eating when the platform passes by again. Trimagasi also sees someone from the upper levels fall through the hole, and he says it's very common, but no one does anything about it, and mentions that they will be together next month. Goring discovers that cellmates are kept together when they are shuffled, and finally realizes Trimagasi ate his previous cellmate while he was on the lower floors. When the platform appears again, Miharu is sitting on it. Goring is concerned about her because he notices she is injured, but Trimagasi tells him to ignore her. Miharu comes down the hole once a month to look for her missing child. She also kills every cellmate she meets in order to increase her chances of being paired with her child the following month. The guy they saw falling was most likely her victim. Trimagasi then explains that, unlike her, he never killed anyone, and instead ate the body that fell on his floor. When the platform reaches the next level, the prisoners attempt to take advantage of Miharu. Goring yells at them to leave her alone, but it is unnecessary. Miharu simply kills them and returns to the platform. When the month is up, the prisoners are put to sleep with gas and shuffled. When Goring awakens, he discovers himself bound to his bed on floor 171. Trimagasi explains that he tied Goring up because he is younger and stronger, and Trimagasi needs to protect himself. Screams can be heard on the other floors, indicating that people are reacting to their new levels, and when the platform arrives, there isn't even a crumb left. Trimagasi announces that after 8 days, it is finally time for him to eat. Trimagasi ignores Goring's pleas for mercy and uses his knife to extract some meat from Goring's thigh. But before he can consume it, the platform arrives, bringing Miharu with it. Miharu remembers Goring's concern for her and attacks Trimagasi with his own knife. Then she frees Goring and hands him the knife, which he can use to finish Trimagasi. Goring then passes out, and when he wakes up, he finds himself on the bed. Miharu has bandaged his leg with a piece of bedsheet and is currently eating Trimagasi. She brings Goring some meat, which he accepts after some hesitation, and she also brings him some water before leaving the platform without saying anything. Days pass, and Trimagasi's body begins to rot, allowing Goring to feed on worms as well. Goring also experiences hallucinations, seeing Trimagasi's ghost judge him while he eats. At the end of the month, gas takes over the cell, and Goring fantasizes about being with a woman again as Miharu watches. When he awakens, he discovers that the creature licking him is a dog. To Goring's surprise, his new cellmate is Imogiri, the woman who conducted his interview when he volunteered to enter this prison. The dog is the item she chose to bring with her, and they have reached level 33. Goring recalls the day of the interview and how Imogiri took creepy pauses between questions. In the present, Imogiri explains that she volunteered like Goring and had no idea people died here. As far as she knows, there are 200 levels, and when Goreng mentions that there isn't enough food for everyone here, Imogiri points out that the amount of food would be sufficient if people only ate what they needed. Something that fosters a spontaneous sense of solidarity is required, but Goreng thinks the concept is ridiculous. He wonders if the death of a child can bring about change, but Imogiri is certain that company policy does not allow under 16s. When the platform brings them food, Imogiri only eats what she needs and gives some to her dog before preparing 2 rations. When the platform reaches the lower level, Imogiri attempts to reason with the prisoners, telling them to eat the rations she prepared and make 2 more for the next level to spread the message. Obviously, she is completely ignored, and Goreng points out that the administration does not want solidarity to occur. Imogiri dislikes Goreng's belief that all administration is bad because she worked for them without incident, but Goreng responds that being a former employee gave her the option of choosing her cellmate. Imogiri refuses to give up and continues to try to ration food on a daily basis, but she is still ignored by lower levels. 2 weeks later, Goreng has had enough of her yelling and tells the people that if they do not follow Imogiri's instructions, he will relieve himself on the food every day, and they will have to eat poop. The threat works, and the prisoners begin relaying messages to lower levels. The platform eventually collapses, revealing an unconscious Miharu. Goreng and Imogiri place her on a bed and care for her while the dog steals some food. When the platform leaves, the cell becomes extremely cold, and Goreng must chase the dog to retrieve the food he stole before they are executed for breaking the rules. Goreng leaves Miharu's bed and sleeps on the floor in the evening, only to wake up to find the girls fighting. It turns out Miharu killed the dog in order to eat it. The following day, Miharu leaves the platform. Goreng informs Imogiri about Miharu's search for her child, but Imogiri responds that Miharu arrived alone 10 months ago. She was an actress without a family who volunteered to come, just like Goreng. Imogiri sent people down here without realizing how bad it was, and she has been fighting cancer for 3 years. When she discovered she had lost the fight, she volunteered to come because she believed she could make a difference, but she no longer cares. On their final day on floor 33, Goreng tries to persuade Imogiri to eat something because they might not have food tomorrow, but Imogiri is too depressed to get out of bed. The next morning, Goreng awakens to find himself on floor 202, indicating that Imogiri was unaware of the existence of additional levels, and she used her bed sheets to commit suicide. Trimagasi's hallucination reappears, and he wonders if Goreng will eat his new friend. This time, he's accompanied by Imogiri and her dog, who insist on eating her body. Goreng does his best to ignore their constant rambling and distract himself with other activities. He tricks his stomach by eating pages from his book, and he uses a plate shard to begin counting the days on the wall. However, Goreng's hunger eventually becomes too much, and he begins feeding on Imogiri while Trimagasi guides him on where to cut. Later, the next shuffle occurs, and Goreng is relieved to discover he is on floor 6. Miharu, the person on the other bed, comes after him with a knife. But it's all a dream. Goreng's new cellmate is Baharat, and his chosen item is a rope. Baharat is ecstatic because he believes he can climb all the way to the top from here, and he approaches the people on level 5 for assistance. The couple above teases him before agreeing to take the rope, but when Baharat begins climbing, the other prisoner lowers her pants and defecates on his face. Baharat, shocked and disgusted, lets go of the rope and falls. Goreng catches him just in time, but the rope is lost in the hole. When the platform arrives, they have to eat while listening to the prisoners on level 5 become agitated. Trimagasi and Imogiri's hallucinations resurface over time. Trimagasi says Goreng is doing well because he only has 1 month left, but Imogiri reminds him that change does not happen on its own. Goreng is inspired to devise a plan and approaches Baharat for assistance. They should jump on the platform with whatever weapon they can find and ensure that food is rationed so that everyone has enough to eat. Goreng did the math while on floor 202, and based on the time the platform takes to move, he believes there are approximately 250 levels, which should be manageable. Baharat agrees to work with them, and they break a bed to use the metal pieces as weapons. The two of them jump on the platform and proceed to level 7, where Goreng emphasizes that they should not allow the prisoners to grab anything. These people ate yesterday and will undoubtedly eat tomorrow, so they should only begin handing out food after reaching level 50 when the people are having trouble. The pair continues to descend while threatening people not to eat the food. After a few more floors, Baharat is surprised to see Brambang, an old wise man whom he respects. Brambang supports what the boys are trying to do, but he points out that the administration has no conscience and will not care if they succeed, whereas the workers on level Karo may, so they require a symbol. Baharat and Goreng chose the panna cotta because it is a very luxurious dish that will make a big impression if it arrives untouched at the bottom. When they reach level 50, Bharat and Goreng start giving out food rations, and people are extremely grateful. On level 97, they encounter a sick old man and a mentally disabled boy. Goreng tries to feed the old man soup, but the boy tells them not to bother because he'll kill the man later and feed on him. The platform does not end here because there are no living people, implying Goreng's calculations were incorrect, and there are more than 250 floors. On the following floor, they discover two men attacking Miharu. One of them wields a sword, and the other is huge and burly. Bharat captures his man first and then assists Goreng in killing the big man. But it is too late for Miharu, who has already died. The platform eventually comes to a stop at level 333, which appears to be the final one. They initially believe it is empty, but there is actually someone hiding under the bed. Mali, the missing child. Bharat and Goreng approach the child, and as soon as they leave the platform, it descends again. Goreng asks Bharat to throw the panna cotta into the hole, but he refuses. To their surprise, the room does not become hot or cold to punish them, and Bharata reluctantly hands over the panna cotta to Mali. Trimagasi, Imagwiri, and Miharu continue to haunt Goreng as they remain on that floor. Suddenly, Bharat agrees with the ghosts, telling Goreng that the girl is the message, and when Goreng awakens, he discovers Bharat has died from his bleeding injuries. The next time the platform arrives, Goreng brings Mali along, and they are lowered into floor 0, which is completely dark and empty. Trimagasi appears to tell Goreng to leave the platform because he isn't part of the message, and they watch the platform rise alongside Mali, hoping that she will elevate the abusers above the reality of the situation. Alright, that's a wrap for today. If you enjoyed the video, hit like, it really helps the channel. Leave a comment with your thoughts and don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Thanks for watching and see you next time.